What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Grisly Seance Deck Tech. I hope you're excited to sit around the table, put your hands on the table, maybe summon Crater Hoof out of the graveyard. I don't know. We'll see what time we have. But let's start off with Seance, the card itself. So we have Seance, 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile target creature card from your graveyard. If you do, put a token that's a copy of it onto the battlefield. It's a spirit in addition to other type. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Now, one of the big things to take away from Seance is it says at the beginning of each upkeep. This is not something that you're just going to do on your own turn. Once you get down Seance on turn 3 or turn 4, depending if you have some ramp out there, you're going to be able to upkeep, bring a creature card out of your graveyard onto the battlefield during your opponent's upkeep. Now, one of the biggest drawbacks to Seance is that card does not have haste, so you're bringing back some sort of value creature. Most of the Seance decks that I did see out there, they tended to be kind of like value generators, so you're running stuff like Drifters, you're running the Fulminator Mages, Siege Rhinos, Shriek Mauls, different stuff like that, and they treated Seance in a kind of more of a reactive way, it's just as a value engine. Now, with this particular deck, I wanted to go with more of a proactive Seance deck, something that we're really throwing the kitchen sink at our opponent. As far as my games go, this is one of those times where, like, man, I practiced the deck, had a lot of fun, had a lot of good interactions, and when I go to record, it just, man, I just could not get stuff rolling. So, but don't let the record of my matches, stand for the deck. It's still a really fun deck. If you enjoy playing decks that are really mechanical, that you kind of have to assemble certain lines of play as you get your graveyard going. I had a lot of fun playing it, and you would definitely enjoy playing it too if you enjoy graveyard-style decks, or something that's just a little bit different, especially if you already own the Obzon, like color base or the lands. Throw a couple copies of Seance in there and have some fun with it. Kind of throw some other creatures in there, see what you want to roll with. But that's going to be Seance. So let's start off with the actual cards that we're bringing back out of the graveyard with Seance. So one of the big things that we really want to do is go wide with our creatures. So we're running stuff like Hornet Queen, Trostani Summoner, Mr. Elephant over here. All of these creatures are going to enter the battlefield and give us a lot of creatures on the battlefield, a lot of tokens. Because the main thing with Seance is it says it's exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. So we get Hornet Queen on the battlefield, that Hornet Queen token gets exiled, but at the end of that, we have 4 insect tokens. Same thing with Trostani Summoner. Enters the battlefield, we're going to get the 2/2, 3/3, and a 4/4. Those tokens are going to stay. The Trostani token will leave. And then the Elephant, we're going to get 3 elephant tokens on the battlefield. Now, the elephants, it's kind of like a you can use it in a manner to kind of blow up your opponent's lands, or let's say that we already have a really good Seance going, we have a good graveyard developed, we have Life from the Loam in the graveyard. If we simply just want to blow our 3 lands up to get 3 elephants on the battlefield, that is definitely something that we can do. Now, once we get these tokens on the battlefield, what are we doing to make sure that we can win the game? We're running stuff like Crater Hoof and Elesh Norn. Now, Elesh Norn can be used in a pinch to kill all of your opponent's creatures with that -2 ability if you need to go for that. But simply reanimating it out of the graveyard for that +2/+2 with a bunch of 3/3s might be enough to kind of help you close the game out. Or with Crater Hoof. Crater Hoof is an enter the battlefield trigger. It's not a cast trigger. So whenever it enters the battlefield, your creature is going to get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So let's say that we reanimate Hornet Queen during our opponent's upkeep. That's going to be 4 creatures on the battlefield. We get down Crater Hoof Behemoth. That's going to be 20 plus points of damage coming across once you bring Crater Hoof during your upkeep. So pretty good little swing of damage right there. So this is kind of one of the ways that we're just looking to go wide with Seance. Now there's another line of play that you can go for in the deck that's a lot of fun to go for. It can be disrupted, but hey, it exists. So we have Druid's Deliverance. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to you this turn, then populate. We have Eternal Witness. Whenever it enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So let's say that we have Seance on the battlefield, we bring Eternal Witness back out of the graveyard, we cast Druid's Deliverance, making a copy of that Eternal Witness token, that enters the battlefield, then we bring Druid's Deliverance back. Long story short, so during your opponent's upkeep, you can fog them out from getting any sort of combat damage that turn, and then at the same time, you can keep making copies of Eternal Witness for every 2 mana that you have, well, at least with green in it, to keep casting Druid's Deliverance. So that's another way that you can really kind of go wide with some tokens, making a bunch of copies of Eternal Witness, then Crater Hoof during your upkeep. It also allows you to kind of stall you out until you can buy some time to find Crater Hoof or anything like that. Outside of the Druid's Deliverance kind of interaction, we also have the Elephant and the Chaos Maw in the deck. Chaos Maw is another way, it's kind of like a backup Elesh Norn. That -2 ability from Elesh Norn is really good, but there's going to be some times where you just need that 3 damage dealt out. And let's say that we're playing against a deck that has a lot of Planeswalkers or some problem permanents. We can bring the Elephant back, destroy those permanents, and then during our upkeep, go for the Chaos Maw if you don't want to worry about giving your opponents a bunch of Elephant creatures. Outside of these different lines of play, we have a couple value creatures that we're running in here. We have Siege Rhino, Shriek Maw, Satyr. These are all great things that we can, cast during our opponent's upkeep. If we need to go for a Satyr, let's say our graveyard is just really stagnant, there's not a lot of good stuff going. We go for Satyr during our opponent's upkeep. We get 4 cards in the graveyard, and we get to dig for a land drop for the next turn, which is always good. And it can also fuel our graveyard if we need to kind of dig for some other creatures. Outside of that, we have Lot Troll and Eternal Witness. I already covered Eternal Witness, but using Eternal Witness in that Druids Deliverance line of play is always nice. But also, one of the main things we're going to use Eternal Witness for is for helping us grab Seance back out of the graveyard. We're running Grisly Salvage in here, so if we can hit Eternal Witness off Grisly Salvage, we'll be able to bring that back and then go for Seance. Same thing with Lot Troll. Lot Troll is our #1 discard outlet. There will be a few games to where you get down Lot Troll, you dump all the creatures out of your hand, and you just kind of go Lot Troll beat sticks. It does have that black mana regenerate Lot Troll, which is really nice. But for the main part, Lot Troll is going to be in the deck just to get rid of the big creature cards in our hand. Especially if you have Chaos Maw in your hand. You don't really want Chaos Maw in your hand. It's not a lot of fun. We can't cast it. So you can also go for a Lot Troll Reanimate with Seance during your opponent's upkeep, just to kind of dump some creatures out and then go from there, since it is an activated ability. You will miss that out on the counters, but hey, that's not the end of the world. Now, ways to get our graveyard rolling. We're running a couple different graveyard enablers. We have Grisly Salvage, Commune with the Gods, Grapple with the Past. Grisly Salvage, look at the top 5 cards, put a creature or land. It is a May ability, so if you just want to dump everything into the graveyard, you can certainly go for that. Same thing with Commune with the Gods. You may put a creature or enchantment. Commune with the Gods is going to be our main way to start digging for Seance if we don't have it in our opening hand. And then with Grapple with the Past, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. We can return a creature or a land back to our hand. We're running 4 copies of Grisly Salvage, 4 copies of Commune with the Gods, and we're running 1 copy with Grapple with the Past. It would not be that bad if you kind of bumped up Grapple with the Past. The main thing we only have 1 copy in there for right now is usually you can kind of hit Eternal Witness off Grisly Salvage pretty quick, and then Grapple with the Past is simply just a great way to, late game, let's say that Seance gets destroyed or something and there's an Eternal Witness in the graveyard, you could just in-step Grapple with the Past, bring back Eternal Witness, cast Eternal Witness, and bring whatever you need back to the hand. We're also running Liliana in Life from the Loam. Now, there is one video where I run a couple copies of Liliana in the deck. This deck is still... I put a lot of time playing this, and it was just one of those things where I could not find the right mix, the perfect mix for that. So you will see a video with Liliana. You can choose to run Liliana. If you don't have the card, that's perfectly fine not to run her. But she simply just serves as like Commune with the Gods 2 and Grapple the Past 2. So if you don't have Liliana, just bump up Commune with the Gods and Grapple the Past. She's still good in the deck. It gives us an alternative game plan. Really, if you're trying to decide whether or not to run Liliana, it kind of gets down to, how graveyard focused do you want to be? Do you want to have like another... kind of win condition with Liliana where you can start working towards those zombies or using her -2 ability, or do you simply just want to go all in graveyard, dump as many creatures as possible and kind of bump up Grisly Salvage, Commune with the Gods? Up to you. Either way, you can run Liliana. She's not bad in the deck. We're also running Life from the Loam, just a great, never get tired dredging Life from the Loam, and it just feels so good. Always making your land drops and filling that graveyard up. Yes, indeed. Love Life from the Loam. Alright, on to the utility creatures that we're running in here. We're running Birds of Paradise to help us churn out the Seance a little bit quicker. Satyr's a great way to help us early start filling up our graveyard. Maybe we can hit a Life from the Loam, make sure we hit our land drops. And then Eternal Witness can be used to help us bring Seance back out of the graveyard. Onto the sideboard, we're running, and your sideboard is going to completely depend on your meta, but the main thing that I want to highlight is Ashen Rider and Sundering Titan. If you still want to have this all-in Seance deck, you kind of want to have a few more options out of your sideboard that you can bring in. Sundering Titan's going to be good in like your like control matchups. You want to blow your opponent's lanes up while Seance stays on the battlefield. Ashen Rider's a great way to, especially if you have Druids Deliverance, you make a copy of Ashen Rider, exile target permanent. If you need to go for your opponent's lands, go for that. And we're also running a couple copies of Thragtusk. And what Thragtusk does in this deck is it's a great value spell to bring back out, because whenever that token leaves the battlefield, we're going to get the 3 Beast token. But at the same time, let's say that we're just running against a deck that just absolutely has us clocked against Seance. You kind of shift into this Abzan mid-range deck by bringing in Thragtusk and a lot more removal. Just kind of grinding it out from there, cutting some of the bigger creatures that you have. Now, that will be the deck tech in a nutshell. I do have 3 gameplay videos for you up. If you want to check them out, head on over there. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.